Okay, so we're in Superlab 1. We've been asked to configure traffic protection. Now, there are several different mechanisms. We'll start from the top. So from the top here, we're going to be using the keyword primary and secondary. Now, we create these paths. We can just name them. We're calling one primary path, one secondary path, but the name can be anything. And these are almost like sort of named placeholders. But when we use the keyword primary and we attach one of these paths, this creates a primary path using this LSP. And I've shortened the LSP here, obviously. And then when we use the keyword secondary, we create a secondary path on this LSP. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing that we're going to be turning on is link protection. Now, link protection actually protects the whole link. So there may be many paths going across that link, and we need to turn it on in two places. Firstly, we need to turn it on the actual interface, and it's an RSVP command. We turn it on the interface so that any LSP traversing that interface can request it. And then secondly, if you actually want to be running link protection on your LSP, of course, you need to turn it on the LSP on the MPLS. So set protocol MPLS, LSP, R1 to R2 link protection, and then down here on the interfaces, we're making sure that link protection can be selected and used for any LSP traversing the link. Okay, you can also have node link protection, and node link protection will do a little bypass path around the node. Okay, so Router 3 and Router 6 have a couple of different requirements. The first requirement is that the secondary path is pre-signaled, and the keyword standby will do that. And then the second requirement is that, of course, there's going to be enough bandwidth for the secondary path to pre-signal, and so we're going to change the reservation style from fixed filter to shared explicit, and that's with the keyword adaptive. And then that way, if, for example, there's a bandwidth requirement of 50 on the primary and 50 on the secondary, but there's only an available bandwidth of 90, when we're pre-signaling, without the reservation style being changed, of course, it wouldn't be able to be signaled, whereas when we change it to shared explicit, this will only be counted as 50 total, and the secondary path can pre-signal. So we're not requiring link protection on Router 3 and Router 6. However, we do need to put link protection on the interfaces on 3 and 6 because, of course, you're going to have transit LSPs that are coming through and they're wanting to signal link protection. So even though we're not using it on the LSPs themselves, on the interfaces we need them enabled under the RSVP. And then finally, we're going to be running fast-reroute on Router 3 and Router 6 on the LSPs. Now, fast-reroute is slightly different. You've got detour paths, whereas the paths on the node protection and the link protection we tend to call bypass paths. Now, these detour paths, their goal is to get the LSP backed up all the way to the egress point, but the actual detours themselves just detour around possible outage points. So basically they're pre-computed, they're pre-established, and then they're sort of anticipating outage points so that the whole path is protected. Now, by default, fast-reroute is going to inherit the admin groups. Now, we don't want that, so we're going to be typing in no include any. However, we do want the bandwidth, and it doesn't inherit it by default, so we have to add it. So we're adding the bandwidth here, and that is the traffic protection.